Welcome back, my children of the night. Well, as you can see, tonight is another vampire night. We will be performing our doctorly duties, curing the sick who wander helplessly through the night. I will be their beacon of hope, right up until the moment I bite into their throat. When last we left off, we found the mysterious nurse. I forget her name, but she's doing. She's performing her own medical practices to help the poor deal with the pandemic that has been ravaging the streets of London. And yeah, we're all right with that. At least I am. I don't know. Can't get in there. And this patient, unfortunately, didn't make it. He had something else wrong with him. Although, while it did seem to be the Spanish flu to begin with, other symptoms at very late stages started appearing, which started making him seem more aggressive and violent and very bitey. And so that's a bad thing. Could explain the situation with all of the what we call skulls, who are also plaguing the nights, the streets. Unpleasant things that well, behave a lot like vampires, if I'm being honest. So one of the recent developments was that my meager efforts at keeping the people healthy in this town suddenly became for naught, as new outbreaks of illnesses began to spread, and I need to get on that. I need to start really doing my job. That of course of healing people. Oh, you don't know where I am right now. Also, I'm here. Keep on poking around the shit pile. Who's saying that? Down there? Nope. And I'm walking. Whoa. Rat. Rat. Eat the rat, thank you.
This is despicable.
Okay, we heard a gunshot. Definitely heard a gunshot. Hello. Can I help you? Thought I was the only trash burglar in this town. I don't know who's talking. Okay.
What? Shooting a boy in the middle of the street. Not the best thing to do, wouldn't you say?
What? You saw what happened?
No, I didn't.
Who are you?
I'm Dr. Reed, and I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you promise me to set your gun aside.
No. Look, I'm not a violent man. I'm Benjamin Palmer, doctor. And no one can help me. Not even you.
Were you addressing me or identifying yourself as a doctor? Promising. What is this letter? Albert Palmer. I don't know what this letter is, and I don't know if I should show it to him.
Perhaps you could focus for a moment and tell me your troubles.
I'm sick, broke, and my son just stole my pills. Everything's coming up roses.
Was that your son that you shot?
What can you tell me about this place?
Nothing to say, really. This is where I used to live, and this is where I live now.
You don't have anywhere to go. No family that would welcome you?
Not since the death of my wife, Albert's mother. She was sick, you see. Long before the flu and all this shit.
You mean you used to have a better life?
Yeah, I had a wife, a home, and a job. I even used to have a name. Now I'm just Ben. Ben the Tramp.
But you were Benjamin Palmer. You identified yourself as such.
Whatever the boy did, I'm sure he didn't deserve a public execution.
I swear I didn't want to hit him. It's just that I'm sick in the head, you see. And
Yeah.
the boy just
Aren't we all?
frayed me last nerve.
Sounds like you're a danger to others.
I have found a very interesting letter. Your son planned to prove his worth to the gang by stealing your medicine.
Oh, I see. So the little bugger thought he could use his dad to build a reputation.
The gang's recruiter was dead when I found him. Perhaps you should take better care of your son.
I love my Albert, sir. Believe me. It's just... Well, I'm an arsehole, I suppose.
Well, you're honest.
Anyway, thanks for the letter. This is for your trouble.
Oh, I got medicine. It's not actually medicine. I think it's like fake medicine that's being sold to people, but
A gun,
cool.
alcohol, and a bad temper make a terrible cocktail, sir. Goodbye for now.
A gun, alcohol, and a bad temper walked into a bar and ordered a cocktail, and it was a bad one. Hey,
Are you all right?
The bastard hit the wall next to me. I don't even know if he meant to miss.
If you've been hurt, I can help you. I'm a doctor.
Name's Albert. Remember it. Now bugger off.
no. I have questions.
What happened? Did you really steal that man's medication?
Hey, I didn't do anything. It ain't me.
All right. Perhaps the poor drunk just confused you with someone else.
Sod off, mister. You ain't got no clue what's going on here. Bastard was a soldier in the war, so now he's got the right to shoot me.
It's true. I'm not familiar with this part of town. Perhaps you could help me.
I said sod off. Go find yourself another guide.
Goodbye, young man.
I won't end up another
But now we have
drunk
some
living in the
things to
streets.
talk to him about.
Not me.
Wait, where'd he go? Probably digging around some other trash bin. Hello? Hello? Where are you? I hear you.
Me? I'll not die in some piss stinking alley.
Oh, there you are.
Someday you'll understand. You...
Good evening, Benjamin. Can I help you?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Reed.
But I know some secrets about you.
What is it, Benjamin? It was the war, wasn't it? Your nerves are shot, aren't they? I need some answers, Private. From one soldier to another.
The doctors called me a liar. A coward. Put me in a straitjacket, locked me up. Finally, they sent me back to the front lines with a handful of tablets.
It's a pity that doctors still practice such barbaric methods. It's a dishonor to our profession.
Now only the pills stop me thinking about this shit. To not hear the explosions. I'm even scared of the dark these days.
A gun, alcohol, and a
Yeah, we heard that. Heard it all before. Don't want to go to the West End. I want to go back to the hospital and brew up some remedies. That's the way I came.
It's locked, all right.
Oh, and if I go point that way, right? But I have to get on that other side. Okay, never mind. I think this might take me. No, wait.
The wet boots will be proud of me.
Can't get in there. I love digging in trash. What? You think just because I'm a doctor, that kind of thing's beneath me? Let me assure you, ain't nothing beneath me. I ain't even got solid ground beneath me.
Human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately.
Uh-huh. Alright. Well, that's mysterious. And you do... Oh! We got trapped! Okay.
Fuck, he's dead! Burn it, boys!
This might be a tough fight. Okay.
Let's see how he likes a bit of...
Oh, that's a... Nope, nope, not a dead end. Thought it was a dead end. Thought that was in trouble.
Trust the leech, boys!
Ah. Whoa, boy, whoa! Somehow I took a lot more damage during that beast rage out session than I was expecting. At least they're polite thugs. They wait for you to finish eating. Yeah, they do. They're stymied and startled by my bestial nature. They have no choice but to stand back and gawk while I feed upon their brethren.
Human blood. Whoever left these marks did so deliberately.
Uh-huh.
Over there! There's one of them burning! Yeah! Burn it, boys! That's what you do with leech. He's fine! Okay!
Oh, there's poison gas all over the place. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Alright. I think they know.
Let's see how it likes a bit of fire. kill you! Crush the leech, boys!
Oh, they keep coming, don't they? They're like infinite thugs. Ah! Okay. This feels like I was pretty much all.
Burn it, boys!
All right. Took care of that little problem. Is there something drawn there, or is that just blood? Just blood spilled. Fair enough. All right. Yes, sir. This fellow looks well dressed. I wonder if he was a named character. Okay, we have a... Oh no! Not me! Yeah, you two fight it out, you guys. I'm low on blood. I'm low on health. Okay, we need to make it back. Yeah, we're on it. We're pretty close. We're pretty close to where we want to go. Can I not get over there? Like, I think I'm allowed to be over there. As in, I think there's other ways to get over there. Okay, we have returned to our... well, to my home, the hospital, where we are safe. Okay, let's see what is needed in our home region. Okay, Beatrice Goswick has so 1 fatigue, 2 fatigue, 3 fatigue, 4 fatigue, 5 fatigue, a headache, 6 fatigue, 7 fatigue. A lot of fatigue. Let's see if we can make 7 fatigues. Or was it 7 fatigue? Whatever. I don't think I can make that many. Okay, and at least 1 headache medicine. I don't know if I can cure headaches, actually. Okay, what about this region? Clayton is recovering. Christina has got fatigue. An unknown person. For 1 fatigue, headache, migraine, 2 fatigue, bronchitis, and cold. Can I make bronchitis and cold and 2 fatigues? I can make bronchitis. And I have cold. Let's make another fatigue. And one cold. Oh, we don't know what Enid Gillingham has. Another fatigue. Cold and a fatigue. All right, let's see if we can start tracking people. Am I able to track people? No. Interesting. I thought maybe. Okay, well let's start going around. Okay, I saw someone with fatigue.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Soldier, do you need assistance?
Not really.
As long as you remain here, I will make sure you don't have to worry about your health.
Don't think you can do much about it.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
All right. You're healthy. You're healthy. Ah. Dr. Ackroyd. Physician, heal thyself. You can't be doing your work while plague infests your body.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
Do you need my assistance?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm capable of dealing with this myself.
Excuse me.
Then you are lucky that I have taken the time to do so. Consider it a gesture of solidarity between professionals.
I wish this hospital could have received as much attention from you, Dr. Reed. We do not see you in surgery very often.
I'm going around handing out medicine to everybody. I don't think I need lectures from you about my doctorly neglect.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Is there anything else that's bothering you? Can I help in any way?
Really? Why has no one else asked me that since I got here? I thought I was in a hospital.
Unfortunately, you are not the only person who needs help. And complaining about it won't do you any good.
Well,
See, my
perhaps you're right,
lectures
Dr. Reed.
come with reverb.
I'm sure if me missus was still alive, she wouldn't be happy with me going on like this.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
My sweet girl.
Okay, you're recovering. Everyone's recovering. Dr. Beatrice Goswick.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
How are you doing?
Do you require medical attention as well, Mrs. Goswick?
Do you know you're the only one?
Despite what you think about this place, I can tell you with absolute certainty, taking this will help you recover.
Well, at least your reputation seems well deserved. Unfortunately, I can't...
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Well, being doctors to everybody. It's an unknown person over there. I don't know you. Excuse me, sir. Must investigate this. Gwyneth Brannigan. I will not have my staff passing on contagion.
Do you require
I will be fine.
Nurse, you won't be able to help people if you're sick.
That's what I was
Take
saying.
this, and do try to get some rest.
I'll try, Dr. Reed. Thank you.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Being a doctor is easy. I've healed like 10 people in 5 minutes. Yeah, you. Oh, blood. I saw someone in here. What? I can eavesdrop. Come on, I wanna...
How can I be sure I'll not find your unconscious body in the house again?
I promise you, you'll not find my unconscious body.
For God's sake, how can you say such a thing?
How can you refuse to listen? I tried to warn you for so long.
No, I won't let my only son die. You promised me you'll stay alive.
Your son lied to you, like the whole world lies to us.
Ah. Hey! What are you doing? Cleaned up pretty fast.
I would ask you to avert your eyes, sir. Or did you not know it was rude to stare?
I knew it.
Speak up, Dr. Reed. I like a man who speaks his mind.
Hiding your true appetites behind a facade of compassion. Bravo. Very clever indeed.
Spare me your sarcasm, Jonathan. You are but newly born in this world.
So in the end, the accusation was true, wasn't it?
The situation is somewhat awkward nonetheless. I have not been observed sustaining myself for many decades. I have to say I'm a trifle embarrassed.
Anyway, I have concluded my inquiries concerning your blackmailer.
I see. Please excuse my agitated state. Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't let anyone see me in this condition.
The case is closed, your ladyship. The person who took advantage of you has, shall we say, seen the error of her ways.
So who was it?
My lady, the blackmailer was dealt with using the utmost discretion. The culprit's identity is of no relevance.
Thank you, Jonathan. That is exactly what I needed from you. You have proven your loyalty, so, as a friend, please accept this small token of my appreciation.
Thank you, my lady.
If you have an inclination to learn more about vampires or your current situation, I will be glad to aid you in your quest for knowledge.
Oh, I have so many questions. Start with you.
Why does Dr. Swansea allow you to feed on the patients of the hospital?
Dr. Swansea is a good and compassionate man. He is trying to find a solution for our hunger. Until that happens, he is clever enough to understand that I only feed upon the dying.
What do you know about this Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole?
The Brotherhood is well known amongst London vampire society. As long as our kind is discreet, and as long as they do not interfere, we have come to a mutual understanding.
And no one suspected you of the murders?
As you well know, suspicion has recently fallen on me of killing for pleasure. But you have my word, Jonathan. I take no pleasure in taking a life.
Okay, I believe you.
Why did you save me in the canning factory?
I could hardly stand by and watch such a promising young blood as yourself be torn to shreds by some gutter scowl.
William Bishop wasn't the vampire that created me then?
No, Jonathan. Whatever their strength and demeanor, Skulls are the progeny of careless vampires. It cannot be the other way round.
What type of vampire is a Skull?
Not a true vampire. The deformed offspring of lesser vampires. It is a shame these creatures run wild, slaves to their baser instincts.
I know this is beyond the pale, but may I inquire your age?
Really? And I thought you were gentlemen. If you must know, I'm 27. I've been 27 for a long time now, and 27 I shall remain.
Very well, but I believe there is more to this than you are saying.
A lady has to have some secrets.
And who bestowed upon you this eternal youth?
My maker. He left this isle a long time ago.
I've been away from London and England for 3 years. This isn't the city I remember.
Things have gone from bad to worse here, Jonathan. I've lived in this city for a long time, and I've never seen it like this.
The Spanish flu has hit London that bad?
Yes, but it's not just that. I've heard things. Things I've not heard for a very, very long time. There are whispers in the shadows. Something far worse than the Spanish flu is here in the city.
What is it you fear?
Fear has long since flown this form. But there is something malevolent circling us. I feel fear is merely waiting in the wings.
Are there many vampires here in London?
Immortals are of a rare breed, and we often tend to hide. But you may occasionally meet some of us at night.
Do you know any of them? Have you an idea of the identity of the vampire who attacked me?
You mean your maker? No, Jonathan, I have no clue. But I fear he or she is as careless as cruel. To let you discover your new condition by yourself.
What do you mean?
Every now and then, you may discover an immortal in the deep of the night. But we are a rare and reclusive breed. Our progeny is almost never accidental.
Will they all be as affable as you, my lady?
I do not see why not. But remember, even the shark smiles before he bites.
That sounds like a lesson from experience.
Vampire politics are as intricate and sometimes tedious as a game of chess in a gentleman's club. I've learned from experience it is best to decline to play.
Yes, Bard. Lady Ashbury, we've performed her task of identifying and dealing with her blackmailer. That was what we did the last bit of the stream on Tuesday. And now we're back for her to fulfill her end of the bargain, to give us all the information that we need. And we have so many questions to ask.
When I awoke...
But she doesn't actually seem to know very much.
She's
She's said very little, with a lot of words.
Well trained.
Though I can't be certain. More than likely, it was the once glorious Guard of Priwen.
Once glorious, but still dangerous.
They have seen better days, but all fanatics are dangerous. You would be wise to stay clear. They are sworn to destroy our kind.
You make them sound like some sort of cult.
More a society. And like all the best ones, a secret society. I thought them almost gone, but it seemed they have been recruiting.
I've been hearing a voice talking in my head. Is this some kind of insanity? It feels like the voice of the vampire that created me.
Hush. Tell no one this. It would be unwise to talk of such things amongst British immortals. Speak no more of your maker.
How could this cause offense?
Only the powerful immortals can mentally call to their progeny. No vampire or hunter will sleep easy, knowing that an unidentified elder is stalking the streets of London.
Ooh.
Excuse
Not only
my
are we an illustrious doctor, but we were made by an illustrious vampire.
My maker.
Me? Goodness, no. Only a foolish immortal would create a progeny without taking precaution, and I'm no fool.
Well, we'll see about that. Am I a vampire?
A vampire? Is that what I am? What we are?
Jonathan!
Such a crude
Jonathan!
word, defined by penny dreadfuls and drunken hacks. No. You are now an Ekon, and that you shall remain.
An Ekon?
Are you an Ekon too?
Yes, I am. We are the closest thing to what man refers to as vampires. Forget what you think you know about us.
So we are Ekons. How can I identify us amongst other vampires?
How to put it? All Ekon are vampires. But all vampires are not Ekon. We are but a branch of the immortal tree.
Yeah, I think a doctor knows about genuses and species and...
I don't understand. Why was I created and then left for dead?
That is a question only the one who made you can answer. It's not normal practice. I doubt even if you find him, he will answer you, considering how cruelly he treated you.
So
that was a good
being
one, Bard.
Vampire could have been a mistake.
An economist.
I very much doubt it, Jonathan. Contrary to the legends, it is not as simple to make another vampire by just biting someone.
I'd like to avoid creating another vampire by mistake anyway. Tell me, how is it done?
The process is dangerous. It could even kill your potential progeny. If you did decide to sire an offspring, they must drink of your blood, Jonathan.
I bid you farewell. For now, my lady.
I must quickly analyze the blood I took from Nurse Crane's patient.
Alright. But first, we have to cure Milton Hobbs.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
Do you need any medical help, Milton?
I'm afraid I do.
Our job brings us into contact with all kinds of infections, Milton. There's no shame in being ill.
I spent a good amount of time concocting all of the cures that I could for the
I get
people
the
of
feeling
London.
you don't fall sick often. Well, thanks, anyway.
No. Well, other than the person that you saw me eat last stream, I haven't leveled up, and I don't intend to until I've performed a lot of doctoring of people. This town's gotten out of hand with the plague.
Goodbye, Milton.
But I do have... It is possible... It is possible that I've been collecting experience for... Okay, a lot of people got healed. Okay, gotta find Chadna. Got you. And... Oswald Thatcher. I don't have headache treatment. Haven't been able to find the... haven't gotten that yet, but I can cure Chadna. Chadna, if I'm not mistaken, is down this way. You're the last person on my list in this area.
Such a pleasure to see you again.
Do you need medical... Hold the Brooks. Don't take too many risks with your health, Mr. Chidana. None of us are immune to this disease.
And that is a good thing. Death and disease is a constant reminder of our mortality. But you have my thanks, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
Looks like I got 25 for that. Oh wait, we learned something new while we were eavesdropping on these two.
I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Good evening.
Don't mind me.
How are you?
I must interrupt.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
$150 would be a lot.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
Got it. But I must continue doing my rounds.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
Did you try to slit your own throat, or did you try to hang yourself?
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
I'm all right.
This hospital
Don't
seems
waste
to be
your time
falling
with me.
apart. But in the circumstances, I'm willing to...
We may lack the resources, but we have some of the most brilliant minds in London.
Yeah, it had to be something to have caused a serious neck wound. I guess the true method will be forever locked behind doctor-patient confidentiality. I can't do that right now. Place. Here we go. Nice. Light stamina, so increase the stamina regeneration rate for 50%. Ooh, that I can see being useful. Watery brisk, but I don't have all the things for it. Okay. Can I water my plant? Didn't know.
Razvan Vasily was infected by Spanish flu, but also has the highly unstable blood of the Scowls. Is the London vampire epidemic transmitted through the flu? I should talk to Dr. Swansea about it.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
I don't know how to get water. Where do I get water? May I have some water? You're the administrator here.
Evening, Edgar. Could I get your professional opinion?
Please speak, but I have something important to tell you.
This is of the utmost
This
empowerment.
strain of flu.
My plant is dying.
Different from the one I saw in Europe. It's downright peculiar.
Really? What makes you say that?
I've just looked at the blood of one of our recently deceased.
I see. Do you have anything more to go on?
This disease spreads and looks like the Spanish flu, but its effects differ greatly. The London strain is different from the continental one.
This is very interesting. Did you find something else?
You really...
Yes. Unlike the flu, the infected begin to show an increase in outwardly aggressive behavior. More than simple agitation.
They get very
docile
bitey.
People become violent.
You mean like rabies? Is there a chance we could create a vaccine, Jonathan, like Pasteur? By the stove, that would be smashing.
There's a lot we're not seeing here. But it is spreading, and quickly. If we don't act, the whole city could be lost.
But Jonathan, we've a fantastic opportunity sitting right here in front of us. A weapon of choice.
What on earth do you mean?
Why, you, my dear boy. With your expertise and your blood, we
And
could
my axe.
isolate the properties that course through your veins. Think about the possibilities.
I may turn London into my realm, he says maniacally.
And why not? What did Stoker say about the Children of the Night? Well, using my blood, I could create a whole army of vampires.
Surely you're joking.
We'll discuss this more later. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you, Jonathan. But as I said, I needed to talk to you.
You said that?
I have some rather bad news.
Yes?
I'm afraid it's your sister.
My sister?
She's to be buried this evening at Whitechapel Cemetery. Your mother published the obituary this morning.
I see.
I'm sorry, Jonathan. Please accept my condolences.
Oh, we feel bad. Feel very bad. We found a new collection. As a scholar and exegete of ancestral writings, I would never insist enough about the importance of taking legends and ancient folklores into account when searching for hints and hidden or lost secrets. A common mistake is to take what we know for an established truth and use it to discard any contradictory material. For example, we must consider the possibility of undiscovered species of vampires, and the necessity to rethink what we see as the established truth about various types of immortals, based on what we know and what we gathered through time. For how many centuries did we consider that vampire was the vernacular term for what we had learned to call econ, until the day 4 explorers of the Brotherhood found proof in Siberia that Volkods were a lupine type of vampire. We considered these creatures to be linked to the mythological werewolf. Now we know it's not true. What about the rest? What about the Rakshasa? What about, from my homeland, what about the Chinese Jingxi, or the Pushan from southern Chile? And, without even leaving the beautiful Great Britain, what about the stories about the bat-shaped women sometimes seen flying around St. James Church in Louth? What about the creature only identified as a disaster in some obscure testimonies, which tried to destroy London in 1666 by spreading a plague all around the city? What about the Nimrod, the mythical figure of the restless vampire hunter, sometimes described by ancient British econs as a legendary huntsman who only feeds on his prey's blood and could go unnoticed amongst the mortals and immortals? I tell you, my brothers, we never can be too sure of what we could find if only we could forget for a few minutes what we're supposed to already know. From Unveiling the Night by Usher Taltrey, Primate of St. Paul. The game would be so much improved, but NPCs are just constantly not fit. I agree. It's a little unsettling. Like, just, you know, you could stand a little stiller, and, like, I know the games need to make characters lifelike, and, you know, not complete statues, but they've overcompensated. The eye was in the tomb. Why is that thing there? Okay. How are we doing? We got one more person. You got a headache. All right, let's go. Let's go in here and find these people. Because I don't really know where all these people are. You're a pillar. What does that mean exactly? Monkey?
I never thought I would have to attend my murdered sister's funeral. Mary, I can't forgive myself. I'll find the truth about what happened to us. I swear.
Should we attend the funeral now? Seems important. Pillar of the community means that the community revolves around them. If they die, it's a huge hit to the stability of the community. Yeah, Monkey, the letter you just wrote, the primate of St. Paul. I mean, aren't humans technically primates? Or am I thinking of simians? Oh, wow. You died unpleasantly. Let me take your money. I mean, Dr. Chadno was going to do it anyway, so... Hey, you! Yeah, it is. I just want to get to my sister's funeral. Oh, there's a jerk over here. Hello. Ah. I might need to upgrade my weapon soon. You ever heard the expression, the going to a wedding is the making of another? No, I haven't, but... The going to a wedding is the making of another? Oh, okay, yeah, I see what that means. All right. I guess the Guard of Prewin think the same thing about funerals. Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, you. I don't trust people holding torches anymore. Doggy?
My dear sister, I don't know if I have the strength.
Oh, man up. You did this. Your responsibility. Am I going in the right direction? No, I am not. Because now there's going to be a couple more funerals. I know. Okay, because now there's going to be a couple more funerals. So given the rate that you're going through them, the Pruin Guard would probably save a lot of money by just investing in mass grave or two. Apparently, your most dangerous enemy is a camera angle. It's true. Yep. Don't like it. It becomes most egregious when I'm locked on to someone. And yes, I know I used that word wrong, but you get my drift. Money on the floor is now money in the pocket. I get lost in this place very easily.
Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony.
Okay.
Avery, I leave you to care for my mother. I'm in no state to comfort her.
I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. We commend unto thy hands of mercy, most merciful Father, the soul of our sister departed, and we commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Why kill my Mary and stick her here in this cold, god-awful place?
These are the legal requirements for the epidemic, madam.
Oh, Avery, I feel so tired. Please take me home.
Yes, madam.
That is a very cool ability.
Oh, Mary. What have I done? If I could only change one thing. One thing. This is a nightmare.
Jonathan, there is nothing you can do but accept it.
We went to our sister's funeral.
What brings you here?
We learned a lot
I
about
thought you could use the company.
vampires, and that we are a
so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
subspecies of vampire. Not subspecies, like a branch. We're a particular type of vampire called an econ, and we also learned that we are that our maker is a very powerful vampire, but we don't know who that is yet. And we healed a lot of people. We've been distributing medicine. She was kindness incarnate. Feel like a hypocrite. Sounds like a bad joke. Kind of a hypocrite.
I wish the tears would come. But I'm empty. And I feel a hypocrite.
Let your pain run free, Jonathan. Don't smother it. What you feel is your humanity. Don't be so quick to lose it.
She had been scouring the most dangerous parts of London in search of me. And it led to her death.
Jonathan, don't.
I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered. And and it haunts me.
Jonathan, stop. Listen carefully. You must come to terms with this. You must learn to live with what happened.
How is it possible? Tell me. Is it so easy to take a life every night, and then just smile and nod at those you spared?
Don't you see? You're doing the work of our enemies, feeding your remorse. We are weakest when we grieve, and the guilt blurs our senses.
And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this.
I don't want to lose you, Jonathan. I've lost so many friends. Loved ones I cherished. Pray for Mary's forgiveness, if you must.
I'm not a religious man. You should know that.
This is not about you forgiving yourself. This is for her. This is you telling Mary how sorry you are.
What should I do then?
St. Mary's Church is not far from here. Go there and make your peace. Find the solace you need.
My lady wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
Okay, but that's self-defense. That's not murder. They killed themselves. They know what they're getting into. They know what I am and what I'm capable of. Feel no remorse for them. Don't you cry for them. Don't you dare. Alright. Get rid of these things. I don't know why they come... Okay. Alright, let's go to the church, and I guess we'll do that. Well, we're racking up that experience. I dislike that he doesn't take damage when he manages to get me on his stake. That's just cheap.
You're mine. Fuck.
I do agree that he's getting melodramatic. I mean, he doesn't exactly take life every single night. Several nights have gone... Well, I mean, he hasn't fed on people every single night. I don't want to mess with you right now. I'm leaving. Yeah, that way. The current quest is... The eye was in the tomb. You know what they say. There's no eye in tomb.
Seek divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known.
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin. Forget your old, weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ooh.
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them.
You are a big man.
Or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
Was that someone else's voice? I hear you. Come out. I'm a doctor. I won't hurt you. Let me just test your reflexes by hitting your leg. It's right up ahead.
Hello again, miss.
Oh, you're healthy.
Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia.
Nothing works on you. I see why people are enraptured by you.
Goodbye
then. I hope you're about to say ARG! I don't think she's human. She can't be human. None of my vampire wiles are working on her.
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop, but I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
You seem to me a good soul, Vicar, but this is a personal matter.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel, for I can be as silent as stone.
I've words for one departed. They're not for living ears to hear.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest, as you seem quite adamant.
I also lighten the burden of God's creatures. That burden that I'm lightening is their blood, naturally.
She was my sister.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
She has been laid to rest. That's all you need to know.
I don't want to tell him that she was murdered, because I'm the murderer.
How are you feeling, my son?
And I don't want to say it was an accident, because that's confessing a little too much. I do feel responsible, though.
I feel responsible. The pain is consuming me.
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What would you like her to know?
I killed you. There's no excuse. Dear Mary.
I didn't want you to...
Forgive me.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
Whatever happened on this dock is between my sister and I. It does not concern God at all.
That may be true. There's certain empirical facts you need to contend with. The fact that religious iconography repels you with some kind of tangible force. This is not something you can ignore. What am I doing up here? What is this place? Why? Okay. Clayton, you are recovering. That's Christina Popa. I have the cure for what ails you.
Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
Do you need any assistance, Miss Popper?
It depends on the price of your medicine.
I am shocked that you would think I am that sort of man.
Forgive my suspicion. I'm so used to liars with good manners. Thank you, sir.
What do you know about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
That woman is a saint. She's living proof that a strong will is sometimes all you need to make a difference.
Oh.
Christina, have you been examined?
I don't like doctor.
Yeah, we've actually talked to her about that already.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
There's a lot of sick people around here, but they're not easy to find. Okay, we have to find Darius Petrescu. I remember that guy. I think I can just... yeah.
Hello, Mr. Petrescu.
Hello, Dr. Reed. Come on in. Yes?
Do you need some help, Mr. Petrescu?
I am very tired.
Well, I think you do. Take this.
Free drugs from an English doctor.
How is Nurse Crane?
I don't know what you told her.
I want to say...
How is Nurse Crane these days?
I
don't know what you told her, what kind of deal you made, but Dorothea seems less anxious recently. Thank you for that, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
It's serious.
It's locked.
Oh, I can't get... yeah, I don't need to worry about her. I'm gonna find these two. Benjamin Palber. Mason Swanborough. Embraced. Loretta Swanborough. I need to find husband? Oh wait, I recall there being some sick people up here. That one gave you 50. I got 50. Okay. Oh, I don't think I have migrate. Do I?
Good evening, Benjamin.
I don't think I have migraine
Can I help
medication.
you?
I'm afraid not.
You don't seem...
I always...
Yeah, I don't have. I don't have. I even. I wonder if I have the ability to make migraine medication. I know I can't make headache medication, but...
I will see you later. A gun, alcohol, and a bad...
Oh my god. You... There we go.
Boots will be...
You I can cure.
I'm not your boy, alright? Now piss off.
Do you need assistance?
Please.
There you go. Let's hope nobody steals it from you.
Very funny.
Goodbye, young man.
I won't end up another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
This new dialogue option is coming up for everybody.
How are you, boy?
I'm not your boy.
Have you heard anything about...
There's Crane? Yeah.
Goodbye, young man.
I won't end up
All right.
another drunk arsehole littering the streets. Not me.
Migraine. A large box of pills. I'll just give that to the next person with a migraine I meet. I don't know what this is, but I'm sure it will help. Hello. What does this say? Oh, okay. So what does it mean when the red means he's particularly vulnerable to ranged attacks?
Filthy murdering bug. Anyone shall
Oh, wow. Hold on. Oh! Got my ass kicked by a priest. He's very resistant. Orange means he's only got minors. Okay. Let's try this one more time.
Shall prevail.
Okay, he's got a lot of resistance to shadow. Ugh. Oh! Can you just... I am about to die. Excuse me. Okay. I could really use some blood. Can I just hit you one more time? And then eat you? Thank you. That's better. Whoa! I did not see that thing. Ah! Ah! Oh, that comment there, Bard. That's I don't know. The words "too soon" might come to mind. But yeah. Okay, wandering all over the place and not finding who I'm looking for. A lot of people who...
I can't believe I'm doing this.
I kind of wish you would not comment every single time I do this.
I have this thirst for blood.
The year, I don't know exactly. The war they speak of is World War I, I'm pretty sure. Apparently your cries aren't carrying far enough to alert your friend.
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Oh! One of you. Oh! I just need one more hit on you. Oh! They knock you off your feet, and they still have a little bit of a window to get a free hit on you, which is a little bit brutal. Anyway. I'm not wanting to get into big fights right now. Just want to, This guy's really spawned a lot. Guess we could go... No, that doesn't really take me in the direction that I want to go in. Just gonna run...
Away with you!
Can't get through here? Fine. Guess we fight.
Have no fear! We cannot be defeated!
Who got me? Price is dead? Yeah. Yeah, that happened a long time ago, buddy. Yeah, we don't. So let's. It's down here, I think I want to go. Yeah. This is a populated area. That was a mutual arrangement, yeah. Albert Palmer's recovering, so I've gotten to him. Wait. Oh, he's got a migraine. You're healthy. Fresh blood on the ground. This is usually a trap, right? Oh, I don't know who you are. Interesting. I wonder how I get in there.
Hello, young man. I'm Dr. Reed, and I would like to ask you a few questions. May I enter, please?
Sorry, no, sir. My father does not like people entering our house, you see.
Your father is worried about you, boy. He asked me to look for you.
So my father actually worries about me then? Okay then. Come on in. I'm Harry, by the way.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Tell me all about yourself.
May I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Do you need any medical help, young man?
Yes, I do. I feel so tired.
Sounds like
I don't know if
fatigue.
it's the epidemic, but everything seems so hard.
Oh, I'm out of fatigue medicine.
I will see you later. Your father and Mr. Lewis used to be good friends. What happened, Harry?
I was young then. I don't remember Mr. Lewis ever coming back again after my mother died. Or was it after my father started bullying him? I don't know.
Have you tried speaking to Mr. Lewis about it?
I don't go out often, but yes. And he scolded me and told me to leave him alone. I guess my father frightens him too much.
But you are not responsible for your father's actions.
Am I not? Dad always says that he joined that gang for my safety. So if I wasn't born, people wouldn't be worrying about Colossus Joe.
Kid dinners. Differently alive.
Do you remember when Barrett Lewis was close to your family? To your mother?
Not really. I was too young. But I remember it was a happier time. Mr. Lewis was funny. He often had dinner with us.
Why are you sad then?
Because it hurts to remember a time when my father used to laugh and smile. It hurts to realise he's as sad as me now.
How was he towards you?
He was nice, I guess. He never forgot my birthday. He always offered me books. I liked books.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. I mean, it's not easy every day, but I'm fine. I'm just tired of being sick all the time. If only I could be tough, like. Well, you know.
Speaking of which, what can you tell me about your father?
My father is an idiot who makes idiot things. That's all I have to say.
Oof.
Forgive my bluntness, young man, but you don't seem happy living in Whitechapel.
Why should I? I never wanted to come here in the first place. It was my father's decision. And look around you. Does this look like a nice place to live?
I don't know that. I don't like any of these.
You have a roof over your head, a place to call home. Many people here are not as lucky, you know.
That's exactly what my father says. Harry, you should be grateful for what you've got. But I wasn't even consulted when we moved here.
If life here is so terrible for you, why don't you just leave this place? Have you ever spoken to your father about it?
I don't go outside. It terrifies me so. I went outside once without my father noticing and I saw terrible things. Bloody and frightening things.
So that's why you stay at home all day? For fear of the epidemic?
I'm not afraid of disease or death, Dr. Reed. It's the living I'm afraid of.
Have you any recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I don't believe in miracles, but it seems the epidemic has been kept at bay for a few days.
Yeah, by me. I've been doing that. I've been handing out medicine like it's candy.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Yeah, I know you don't have very much. Let me just take your box of pills. I'm looting everything you've got. I really should head back to my hidey hole and... Dear Mr. Peterson, it is my duty to inform you of a refusal to accept your application for a job at the dockyard. I must thank you for the time spent at our office explaining the difficulty of your situation with your little boy and the loss of your beloved wife. But it is also my duty to point out the policy of our company, which expressly reproves the employment of former criminals or convicts. Your unfortunate connections with the ill-famed Wet Boot Boys have been duly noted. These are hard times, sir, and Finch and Harper intend to reward first the candidates who pass the small inquiry we like to conduct about our future employees. You have my deepest sympathy, and may God be with you and your family. Joe Peterson.
It's locked, all right.
Young man, while rifling through your things and taking all that belongs to you, I found this letter. Explain yourself!
So, may I ask you a few questions?
I'm not bothered. What could be worse?
Would it ease tensions with your father if he got an honest job? Because he tried, you know.
I can't say. I'd be glad if he dropped his thuggish activities, but I'm not sure it would be enough.
Why is that?
Sometimes I suspect it's me, Dr. Reed. Or it's this life. It's like I can't find my place.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Even my dreams are soaked with gloom.
Yeah, where's his dad? For that matter, where is Hideout? Hideout is right down here. Or down there? I don't know. This map is hard to read sometimes. In the wrong direction. Yeah, it is. It's down here. Yeah, I see it. It's right up there.
It's locked, all right.
What? No, this is my house. How is my... Yeah, I just gotta head back to my seedy neighborhood meth lab. Give the people what they really want. Okay, let's head there. Guys, help me! Yeah, a lot of them. Oh man, you snuck up on me, and you're gonna hit me while I... Yeah. God, I hate that. Ah! Ah. Heisenberg, yeah. Say my name. It's, wait, it's right this way? No, it's this way. This looks about right. Okay, we cooked up cold because there were people who need it. Or nothing to analyze. Okay, so who... Migraine can't make. Fatigue, 1. Migraine can't make. Cold. I have a cold. So it's just fatigue that I need. Alright. Two colds. 2 fatigues. Breaking flat. I got 2 colds. Alright, good. Alright. Let's find this Peter fellow. We'll go back.
This is despicable.
Staking Vlad. Yeah, well you're getting all the rhymes in there, so that's good. I really should mark locations of people when I find them. A young man. Is this,
I cannot enter.
What is this place? It looks like a mine. Might have been a dead mine. Hard to tell with mines.
The wet boots will be proud of me. It's all a bloody joke to you, isn't it? Sticking in drugs.
Man, I got lost. Okay.
Has been proven by many. Even the flu is no match for the Swanborough cordial.
Okay, he's around here. Like his place is around here somewhere. Nope, it's not that way. Frazzled skull? No. Rogue skull. Oh. These guys are all level 8s. No problem. It's nice to fight things that I wouldn't even eat. I'd eat a little. I'd nibble. I'd nibble on them. A large beast. Fought that before. I'd like to find those people who are talking. Darius Prescue, okay. Getting close. That's you.
The Swanborough cordial can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
I can't.
Yum! It was so delicious, and I feel excellent about doing that.
Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Sure. Even my dreams are soaked with glue.
Soaked with glue? What does that mean?
So,
I'm not bothered.
do you need any
Yes, I do.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of
Oh,
living
gloom!
in a world like this.
His dreams are filled with gloom. Okay.
But I thank you for your concern, sir.
Goodbye, young man. Take care of yourself.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Okay. And there's one more person who has a cold. Richard Nithercott. I don't even know if I must have met this person. I know where he is. Oh, he's behind. He's the poet. He's the poet. He's behind the church.
Even now, he judges your words and actions.
Oh. Right, yeah, he's right. He's back here. He's back here. There you are.
Good evening, Mr. Nithercott.
And good evening to you too, my good sir. Can I be of any help?
Behold,
Do you need
my amazing medical abilities. For here, I have the cure for the common cold.
I understand your appetite for words and macabre beauty, sir. But you should be more careful.
The nutrition of my mind is more important than my physical health. But I appreciate your concern, sir.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Okay. So that's all the healing I can do in this part of town.
Protect you, for there is no protection against
cheap price, good quality. Come on, take a look. Don't be afraid.
Joe Peterson, I want to talk to you about your kid.
You again?
Harry doesn't seem happy living in Whitechapel. Why did you make him come here?
I've always put my son's interests above everything else, whatever he may think. Our house is small but affordable. The walls are thin, but the door is solid.
You really love your son, don't you, Mr. Peterson?
He's my pride and joy. Even if he hates me for the choices I make and pushes me buttons more than he should.
I didn't get it, honestly. I don't... You said... I don't know what glue and being, like, knackered, that's, like, drunk? I didn't see the connection, and I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to sound like an idiot. But, well... There I go. Confession done.
Do you have any regrets?
Only one. Not to have my beloved wife by my side. She died when Harry was little. My sweet Jane. She gave the boy confidence.
Since the criminal nature of your job means you could be arrested, are you not afraid of what would happen to your boy if you were?
No one will ever take my son away from me. If that ever occurred, I'd hunt the bastard down and rip off his head with my bare hands.
Why do you keep on working for the gang, Joe? You know it doesn't suit you.
It's true, I hate this job. And I know I made some bad choices, but I'm a wet boot boy now, and people won't forget it.
You could leave tomorrow. Start another life in another town.
That's easy for you to say, Doctor. We are poor. My son's weak, and there's no way he'll endure another disappointment.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
She's doing good work. I saw her yesterday and told her she could call on me if she ever felt threatened. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I did know that about the knackers as where you sent horses. That's grim, but probably true. Okay. Where is... Oh, Joe Peterson. Alright, so we have figured out All but one, right? And I can't help you, and I can't help you. There's a few people down in the docks, but honestly, I think we can want to go back to the hospital, which is this way. It is this way, right? No, I went the wrong direction. I'm great. This place is a maze. I do have trouble finding my way around. It's this way, right? Yes. Which way? To the left.
Remorse and pain are precious when binding you to the earth. You. I remember you.
Oh, there's a guy here. Are you my maker? Whoa, you got antlers. Oh, you're the devil.
Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land. You are our champion.
Riddles and rhymes. You took my life. Now you insult my mind.
Be stilled, my child. I bring understanding.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
Yeah, thanks for all the understanding. That was crystal clear.
Decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
But right now I'm knackered. I need to spend some experience. Oh, I got nearly 5,000. Okay. What are some things that I want? It'll be a while. No, level 14? Yeah, it'll be a little while. Or maybe not. Who knows? Okay, I would like... Wasn't that happy with Blood Spear. Shadow Mist is pretty good. Claws sound pretty good. I'm interested in maybe buying all of these abilities. Yeah, there was a we had the guy who made us talk to us, and he was sent a vision or appeared to us. I don't know, probably a vision because he looked really weird. He was like made of blood and he had horns, and then he spoke in riddles and didn't tell us much at all, except that we have some big purpose that we have to do, and yada yada yada. Take some chomp chomp damage. I think that's a good idea. It's not that expensive. Holy heck. We could probably buy a lot of it. Now that's 1,000. Oh, we could just keep buying more because we keep leveling up. Nice. Okay, Shadow Veil. Become invisible and moving in a state would drain more stamina. Okay. I want to get this ability because it's pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool. Supernatural move to your target, cause damage upon landing. I feel like more stamina would be a good idea. And now we need something small to buy. Body condition, that's pretty small. Yeah, the leap ability, I think it's a great way to close distance on people. Okay. Reports of mysterious... Oh, this is like because we ate one guy and like it suddenly makes the news. It's reached a point where witnesses have to queue before recounting their testimonies to an officer. Although the phenomenon appears to be a nationwide occurrence, the statements of the last 24 hours have converged around a single area in the country, Whitechapel, London. Yes, once more, the despised and loathed East End is left to struggle on its own, continuously overlooked by the authorities, even while numerous families from the district report unexplained disappearances of relatives and neighbors. What has happened to these missing individuals? Where are they? I didn't dispose of the corpse. He's still lying there in the alley. The only link between them seems to be their health and their need for urgent medical attention. Until recently, it was a local secret that the only place to get help was a discreet dispensary managed by unidentified Good Samaritans. But the place now seems to be closed, and no one has any news from the facility. Did the missing persons go to a more secret place? Have they been discreetly moved to more official service? One day soon, the London City Council's Board of Health will have to answer for this new mystery. Yeah, it is. Heck yeah. You beat them with your big old meat stick until you could swallow their bodily fluids. So going for the hard bite would likely be the best choice. I did go for that. I did go for a pretty hard bite. Unless there's some ability that lets you keep beating the big stick. Yeah, stamina lets me do that. And I did up that as well. I'm about ready to... Oh, can I only do one of these? Add 3 stun points when the weapon hits. It's an ore, so I guess. Yeah, it's ore. Yeah, increase. I'm gonna have increased stun. It's a good barb. That's what I'm using, right? The good barb cudgel, common barb cudgel. Yeah, let's upgrade it to a good barb cudgel. Heck yeah. Do we want enhanced handling, decrease stamina consumption by 10%? That sounds good. Increase stun. That also sounds good. Should we just like keep making it? Same thing, isn't it? Decrease stamina by 10%. Seems to be the way to go. I need good handle parts too. I need 3 good handle parts before I can increase to level 4. Keep an eye out. A used truncheon. Huh. I'm pretty fine with just that. Any good handle parts in any of these if I recycle them? Is there any reason not to recycle these things? The only thing the Swanborough cordial is useful for is the fact that it comes in a glass container. The contents themselves are worthless. Cottigan's treasure. Oh, I could sell them? Okay. Did any more illnesses show up in this area? Oh, a cold showed up. 2 colds showed up. What about in Pembroke area? Fatigue showed up. Migraine. So 1 fatigue, 2 colds. Two fatigue, 3 colds, unknown. Can't remember. I'll just make 3 of each.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
You can't hide from my teeth.
This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And
No one ever explained that to me. You really got to do something about your eyes, my friend. That's a dead giveaway.
Sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news.
It's an undead giveaway.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least 1 dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control.
I had nothing to
Even
do
the
with
most
it.
infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
That skull, is that one of your... never mind. No one will notice you, my buddies. You fear for your reputation? Confidence must be restored.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones.
Oh, we hated her.
Found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Yeah. I'm sure the list of people who wanted her dead is very small.
Very well. I'll help you.
I know this place means something to you. I have noticed how you suppress your appetite when around the staff and patients.
You need to know you can trust me, Edgar.
I do, dear fellow, I do.
Please then.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad that I don't get a chance to eat her.
The man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do
Well,
you
they're not
realize
wrong.
what that could mean for us?
They are not far wrong.
Well, they are not far wrong. The hospital is almost crawling with vampires.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this.
But she had hints and stuff. Dear Dr. Swansea, I will be glad to manage the temporary morgue as soon as it's opened. As I have already told you, I was a doctor during the war, and I will be glad to serve my country again. And now it is not the same thing being a physician for the dead as it is for the living. I know it is not the same thing, but I believed it is important to welcome and take good care of our departed too. Rest assured, I will do my best to fully perform this new duty to the best of my ability. Concerning the question of my qualifications, I'm sorry I can't give you anything more valuable than my parole. I swear to you that my regiment made me a doctor during the war, and that I saved many lives. If my word is not enough, you can contact the military administration and verify my experience and skills. They will confirm that even if I never followed any medical studies, the war taught me what a doctor really needs to know. That was Rakesh Chadna, former doctor. Alright. We learned something about our Mr. Chadna.
Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks.
Oh, wow. Sean really made a mess of the place. Pippa. I have a...
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
Do you need medical help yourself, Nurse?
I'm afraid I've contracted some illness, Dr. Reed.
Not under my watch, Nurse. Take this. You'll feel better.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
This dead flesh needs it. Oh, please spare me, Dark Queen.
Well, it'll be a challenging trail to follow. Lady Ashbury, what are you doing out here?
Oh, Jonathan. I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Ooh. I'm partially responsible. Can we share this meal? What?
Would you care to partake in this meal with me?
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
Have you killed this woman? Oh, Ascalon. He's the big meaty dude.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was huge. Yes, that's...
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence.
That's a apt description.
Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
Oh, I want to join them. They're so influential. I want to be influential.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan.
But I'm not a religious
I believe
man.
superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
I like her. She is correct.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia.
Renfield?
And no, I did not kill her.
I know that name.
I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
Can't argue with that, Bart.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
One second. Okay. Any unhealthy blood sacs? Newton. Ooh. There's lots of spying to go on, be happening. Let's... I gotta get down there.
Sometimes you act like a real jerk, you know that?
Oh, come on, Ozzy, don't be like that.
What, like what? Like someone who felt betrayed by the man he loves? Did you ever even try to find me? Rescue me?
You know, it's not like that. I wanted to. I was so afraid to leave the hospital, not to be seen with you.
We survived this shit together. That's all that matters. I know you did your best. Fuck the war, right? And fuck them all.
Fuck the war. Fuck them all.
That was a very awkward looking video game kiss. Excuse me. I just... Oh, wait. No, I want to go... Thank you. The door is open. Is this God? Is this a holy place? You both have... Okay, you have a killed and... You know, okay, you got entirely different things.
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Doctor.
Mr. Blight. That's why you said his illness is a blight. I didn't clue into his name.
about Oswald Thatcher. You are more than friends, aren't you?
I'm more than a little bit nosy.
I love Oswald. We knew we wouldn't survive the war without each other. But I am terrified, Doctor.
What frightens you so much?
What if people find out? Oswald says I'm ashamed, but it ain't that. It's more, well, you know, I never thought I'd love a man.
Enjoy your love. And enjoy life as long as you can, Mr. Blight. Don't let anyone tell you who you should love or how you should love them.
I appreciate your kind words, sir. But it ain't that easy. It's all so new to me.
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself. Good evening.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Your feelings about Newton's... Okay, your feelings or Newton? Okay.
Tell me about your true feelings for Newton.
I love him. I'm not ashamed to say it. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. I can't imagine life without him.
Why should you be ashamed?
I'm not, I said. But Newton sees it differently.
I admire your honesty. It takes courage to stand up to society. The world needs people like you to create change.
Courage is what we needed in the trenches, looking death in the face every day. I speak plain. I speak my mind.
Have you always been this straightforward?
All I know is, before you saved me by the sewer...
Oh, did I forget to give him cold medicine?
I wouldn't be able to hold or kiss Newton again. I love him, that's all.
Newton is conflicted about his feelings towards you. Would you like to talk about it, Oswald?
It makes me sad and angry. It feels like the beautiful thing we have is somehow tainted. It hurts to see him so lost.
His love for you is genuine. I'm certain he wasn't lying to me when he expressed his feelings for you.
Newton still has to accept it, knowing he'll be seen as a queer, a fairy, less than a man in those simple-minded bigots' eyes. Though he's more of a man than they'll ever be, so fuck them all.
Indeed. You have the
medical attention.
You have the migraine,
Don't get
right?
me wrong, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Can't.
I will see. Goodbye, Mr. Thatcher. Try to take care of yourself.
And we'll just grab this, and we'll grab this.
It's more peaceful without the bombs, but no less dangerous.
Hello again, Mr.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you need med...
Afraid so.
Throughout history, some diseases have done more damage to armies than any weapon created by man. You are wise to be careful.
You're working at...
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself.
Don't sit down. I want to talk to you.
When I get back... Hey, Doc.
Nothing yet, huh?
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
All I know is I ain't letting anyone rip my throat out.
I'll leave you.
Miss, please, I feel sick. Get over here now.
Who? What? Oh, it's you guys. We have to talk to Dr. Chadna. Chadana.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Such a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, why don't you do... Yeah, I would take that.
Tell me me the truth about your appointment as a medic during the war, Rakesh.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake. I had to learn the job on the spot, sir. Very hard, sir, but I rose to the challenge.
Do you realize how many soldiers died because of that decision? You should have refused.
Yes, sir. I swear I did, sir. But no one listened. When the first wounded arrived, I had to do what I could.
It is an unbelievable story, Mr. Chidana.
It was a time beyond belief, Dr. Reed. But I'm happy not to deal with the wounded. I prefer caring for the dead now.
Yeah, I guess you can't kill the dead.
Tell me the truth about your appointment as a medic during the war, Rakesh.
The regiment administration appointed me by mistake. I had to learn the job on the spot, sir.
Okay.
Very hard, sir.
That's good to know.
I rose to the challenge.
That's the same thing. Oh, okay.
Tell me the regiment.
Okay, yeah. I have to...
You can't... You're absolutely right.
Do you believe you have...
My ratings were within the averages of the regiment.
Alright, good.
Goodbye, Mr. Chidana.
Tomorrow, more bodies will arrive and then sadly depart.
Should we do that now, or should we... I'm gonna head to the docks now, and then... I'll get that medicine. Or I'll get that migraine medicine. It's basically straight down, and then yeah.
It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district.
Please, sir,
There
can't
must
look
be more.
lively.
Made short work of them. They find no. This way I came. This way, please.
This is leak spotted. Watch out, boys.
Now, how do I do the leap attack thing? Wonder how I do that. It's not on my, how do I do the thing? Tell me about the thing that I can do. Oh, maybe I have to change out one of my... Yeah, I do. I have to change... Okay. So I can only have 5 active abilities. Interesting.
Best stay back, sir.
I kind of like it. It needs to do more damage, but it does do one thing that I like, which is closing distance. Ah! Yeah, I definitely put more points into this. I think it's a good power. I would use it. I don't remember. I don't think I actually spent too many points into it. I just spent a little bit just so that I could try it out and see what it's like. But yeah, I haven't taken any ability as far enough to have reached one of those split paths. Oh, I passed it. Oh, I was going the wrong direction. I think I only took one level in it. Just open it up.
Perhaps we should listen to what the idiot had to say first.
Okay, so we just gotta talk to people?
Good evening, Miss Cox. I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Yeah, it's not a lot of damage, I know. I just wanted to see if it was a worthwhile spending too many points into it. There's a lot of skills that I bought and found that well, not a lot, but there's some that I found that I... Like the blood spear, not that impressed with it. The blood shield, not that impressed with it. You have any good handle parts?
As long as you have...
That's common handle parts. I want good handle parts. Put that thing down. You'll shoot someone's eye out.
You again. What do you want?
Do you know where I can find Sean Hampton? I need to talk to him.
The sad saint. Why on earth do you want to talk to him?
He was one of my patients at the Pembroke Hospital.
Oh, yeah. I heard the poor bastard had been abducted by some cunt. You better ask Tom Watts. He knows Sean Hampton well.
Tom Watts. You can do that.
Goodbye, Mr. Digby.
Maybe. I actually don't know where Tom Watts is. Oh, is that? Okay. Mr. Fishburne, I have medicine for you.
Good evening, Mr.
Yeah.
Do you require
some...
I don't know which kind of doctor you're used to dealing with, but it's a doctor's purpose to heal people.
And is it your purpose as well, Mr. Reed? I would say it's a convenient way for gaining people's trust.
Any chance you can help me find Sean Hampton?
The sad saint. Why would you talk to that cunt?
Actually, that's confidential.
Really? Well, go ask someone else then. I'm sure Tom Watts will gladly answer you.
That's
goodbye, Mr. Fishburne.
Two people telling me to talk to Tom Watts. Do I know you? No.
Hello, boy.
You're a boy.
Good evening.
Did I scare you? You have nothing to fear from me.
No, it's just that people prefer to avoid me.
Well, I won't. I'm a doctor.
My name is Rufus, sir. Rufus Kingsbury.
What can you tell me about this region?
It's all about staying out of trouble. But since most people prefer to avoid me, it's pretty easy.
Have you ever thought about leaving?
Where else would I go? At least I know these streets and some people around here. This is my city, for better or worse.
Why do people avoid you?
They call me Rufus the Curse. Around here, I'm a bit of a bad luck charm.
What do you do around here, Rufus?
I listen to the news on the docks, sir. And I smile at those kind enough to spare me a bob.
Do you have a job?
It's hard to work, what with my head and all. Since I was a boy, I've always had trouble remembering what I do and why I do it.
What do people say about this place?
Things have been tense between the wet boot boys and the communists. They both feel they should run the docks.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here.
Yep, that's where everyone tells me to go.
Are you alone? Where is your family?
Who knows where you are right now?
I don't have any. My parents are dead.
So you have no home? You're sleeping rough?
No. I mean, yes. I live on the streets. I have no home.
This city has abandoned so many of its children. It's tragic.
Well, I've known worse. I'm not all alone. I have Mrs. Fishburne. She's been very kind to me.
Why do you think she's so considerate?
I can't say, sir. I guess she's a good soul. Sometimes it's like she replaces the mother I lost, even if we're not related.
Haven't met her yet.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
I wonder where that pub is. We're gonna find that pub. Oh, is this the pub here? This looks like the pub. No, this isn't the pub.
Good evening, madam. It's Dr. Reed again. May I come in?
You best come back in the morning, Doctor.
No, wait. I've improved my mesmerism. See, let me demonstrate.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? Best grow eyes in the back of that head, sir. Gentlemen are easy targets in these parts.
What?
It's locked.
Wise woman.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you can just die in the gutter and no one will bat an eye.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Isn't Seymour Fishburne her husband?
My Jack was a docker.
No,
He
maybe
died
not.
when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
Oh, Seymour's her son. Okay.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy.
Seymour looked old,
but we'll
that's
get
all.
by all right.
I guess this place ages you.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
but you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
It's eating all that overcooked salmon takes a toll on you.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be?
You talking about the one everyone calls the sad saint? The man who
She's just gonna tell me to go down to the pub or talk to Tom Watts.
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is. But if you ask around, I'm sure you'll get your answer.
Oh, she's not gonna tell me anything. Good to know. Do you
Mrs.
have any
Fishburne,
maladies?
are you in need of any medical assistance?
I am fine for now, least in body. Thank you for your concern, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
All right. Let me just look around your house for a moment. Oh, she's telling me to watch my back, is what she's saying. Nice, Kit Kat. No, I'm leaving. We gotta find that pub. Where's that pub? That's not the pub. Where's the pub? Is that a train going by? I want to see a train. I don't know where the pub is. Turquoise turtle.
These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire? Whatever do you mean?
I'm a tracker of these creatures. A vampire hunter.
You best be off to
Not a
your
drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
You won't see me screaming about it.
It's an old story. A monster with daggers for teeth and icy claws. He comes of a sudden, nighttime, claiming innocence, then vanishes.
Teeth, claws, murders by night? Your sewer dog is my business. He's the kind of prey I hunt, milady.
You really like to get in people's personal space. Tell me about yourself.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist. And they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
All he needs is a fedora. He dropped your fedora, my friend.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Oh boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So,
How exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Oh, yes. I believe you.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
Oh, yes.
So you
barely
hunt
heard you
alone?
humming.
That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I don't need to ask him that.
Goodbye. And good hunting, Mr. Throckmorton.
Who's the lady that m'lady you were talking to? Rufus Kingsbury. You, I didn't realize you had anemia.
Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Okay.
Do you need help?
A real doctor caring about me.
Oh, was that the waitress? Okay.
I feel like a real person.
The real doctor treats everyone the same, Rufus.
I don't know what to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
Anybody else? Let's go back to the pub then.
Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Oh, you're that doctor.
Yes. Let me thicken your blood. Wait. It's,
Inebriation aside, do you need medical help?
Yes.
Take this, then. And perhaps you could try to slow down the alcohol intake, too.
Hey, Doc, you don't really want me to stop the only remedy I can afford.
Surely you must have had dreams and expectations when you were young, like everybody else.
Sure. I wanted things to change. To really change, and to change for good. The bigger the dream, the harder the fall.
Sounds like you were an idealist, which is honorable.
No, sir. I was an anarchist, and I believed that exclusive property is a robbery in nature. I wanted a new world to rise from the ashes, Dr. Reed.
I like this fella.
Do you really think the world is that bad?
No, I believe we all can choose to make it better. But most of us are too weak, too corrupt and too guilty. I failed for sure, but others will come.
I want to know more about your past as an anarchist, Dyson.
I'm still an anarchist, Doctor, make no mistake. I just reject violence as a tool to change the world, unlike my comrades.
Do you still see your comrades, then? Even if you don't agree with their methods anymore, I mean.
No. I hope they'll come to share my point of view one day. I'll raise my glass to that splendid idea.
Do you believe in a bloodless revolution, then?
I do not believe in much anymore, Doctor. But I'll admit I like your idea of peaceful change. I like it a lot.
What do you do for a living, Mr. Delaney?
I drink. I drink in the morning and at noon. I drink at night. And then I drink some more.
Why do you drink so much?
Maybe it's because I prefer dying slowly. Death can be so abrupt. Personally, I like to see mine coming at my own pace.
You sound very sad, sir.
That's because I am Doc.
Don't you work at all?
I'd love to, but I don't have the time.
I'm too busy drinking.
Drink in the morning and at noon.
It's
I'll drink at night.
I was making a joke, but...
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
No reason at all to rejoice, then? Life is hopeless and then we die, is that it?
Let me tell you a story.
All right. Go on.
A few years ago, when I believed a resolute man could change things around here for good, a tragedy occurred nearby.
What kind of tragedy?
It was a bomb. Bomb that exploded and killed many people.
Hey, my pie.
Everywhere.
Welcome in.
Shouts.
Good to see you.
Fire.
How's your day going?
Broken window of the shoe shop. The torn street light.
You lost people you loved that day, didn't you?
I've lost everything. But you know what the worst part is? I don't even remember where it happened. I've drunk so much to forget it. And now I can't remember where it was. I can't pay my homage to the dead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delaney.
It's okay. If you ever find the place, just leave a flower for me there. Even if you tell me where it is. I'm not sure I'd memorize it.
Poor fellow.
Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
Why are you...
Cynicism is the polite way to express despair, Doctor.
No reason...
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I've heard it already.
Another time. Is there anything in particular that you like about this part of town? Except for the cheap drinks, I mean.
How dare you say such a thing? I love this neighborhood. So friendly. So joyful.
Goodbye.
Alright, we gotta talk to Tom.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, sir. How are you tonight? Back to the docks, are we?
You remember me then?
Of course I do. You're that man who seemed so lost when he entered my bar a few nights ago.
Thank you for your hospitality. I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way.
I'm still Tom Watts. Welcome back, Doctor.
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Wouldn't the end of the pier just be water?
I believe he returned to...
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. That would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
Oh, good. Excuse me.
What can you tell me about this part of town?
It's not that bad. Thanks to people like the sad saint at the East End.
Who?
Sean Hampton.
How we know about... It's just like...
How is it you can keep this place?
Well, since everybody needs a drink, my pub is considered neutral ground by most groups.
I see. So you get pressure from all sides about how this place should be run, do you?
Well, something like that. Nothing that a few wise words and a bottle of gin can't solve.
You're something of a figurehead around here.
I'm only pouring alcohol for everyone to forget their troubles. Sean Hampton is the one giving them long-term hope.
Since I'm here, is there anything I can do?
Well, perhaps, Doctor. Peace partly depends on my stock of gin. With the epidemic, my supplies are running low.
How could a physician help you in this matter?
I have a small warehouse just past the quarantine line. Perhaps, with you being a doctor, you could go there and come back?
Doctors aren't immune to disease, you know. Very well.
But vampires are, so I will do it.
Oh, thank you, sir. Here's the key to get in. You're about to save many dry throats.
Interesting choice of words there, my friend. Tell me more about these throats. Is there anything I can do to make them moist?
I should have offered a drink to the boy. Be he cursed or not, he's just another.
Okay, let's we go this way. Archer, we've spoken. We gotta get over there.
It ain't human. Kill it.
What are you talking about? Oh, you're fighting a monster. Well.
Filthy piece of shit.
Oof. Oh, monster got me. Yeah, we must save the vampire hunters. Excuse me. Whoops, wrong direction. Yeah, he's decently dangerous. Did he have any loot? Rough part of town this is.
Seems like the guard of Prewin is on Sean Hampton's trail too.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like this. Ah. That should do it. And we're done.
The wounds on this corpse are deep, the result of rabid rage. If this is Sean's doing, he's become a murderous beast.
That's not what happened there. It was someone else lighting my farts on fire. Weren't me at all. Oh, come on. There's got to be a way. Some. Oh, hello. Okay, what's going on here? What's going on here? Well, I guess vampire farts aren't flammable. I love how the maturity of our conversations sharply declines when you show up in my chat, Bard. I love it. How am I having trouble? Oh, right. I have to get through there. Hmm. It exploded the way it always explodes. Nothing to do with fire. In any case, wasn't me. Wasn't me with a flamethrower. It did do it. Okay, we're not finding our way around. What's the way out? Okay. Oh, hello.
Look at it!
You win a beatdown with my meat stick. Wait, that's not what it's called. It's a meat down with my beat stick. Yeah, that sounds right.
Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Oh, hideout. New hideout. Hey, it's a dead guy in my hideout. Maybe it used to be your hideout. I don't use guns. Okay, so we have to use... Is it? It's locked. Okay, what is the right way in there? Nope. Is it? Well... It's very difficult to respond to that. I'm just not gonna. Who are you, Batman? Is the long nose? You're not wrong. Okay, I really don't... I'm really having a hard time finding my way around here. Okay. No, it's... in through there. I didn't realize I actually have very limited jumping ability by doing that. What's this? Does this take me where I want to go? No! Maybe I can... Maybe there's another exit out of here? I tried following the blood trail. Oh, alright. So this is why I kind of feel like I have to keep you around, Bard. Wait, blood trail just ends. Or does it go in here? No. It starts up here, ends there. Alright. Now I'll just look around for more blood, I guess. Hello. No trail, there's just splotches. I'm in the wrong direction, but that is the right direction. Nope. Here's a blood trail. Okay. But it ends here. It's no help at all. That... I can go over there, but that's the wrong direction. A blinker skull. I love blinker skulls. My favorite kind of skull. was in here. It is both the beginning and the start. See, it starts here, and it goes over here, and then it ends here. So pick a place that you think it should start. It really only goes about 50 feet. Could be the case. Alright, I'll try that. It's not that far back. Okay, so you think it goes up a level? Can I get up there? I don't think I can get up to that level. The building... Have I open this? Oh, that's not a chest. Building I was just in. Okay, this is Dawson's furniture. And yes, there are upper level yeah, I can get up to the top level here. I'm pretty sure I have been up here. Yeah, no, I just thought I'd been up here already. And I'll keep looking around. I mean, chances are I've, like, walked past the right way several times already.
Tom has so much alcohol, he could keep this district afloat for quite some time.
Oh, okay, that's a, another quest. But wound up backtracking after fighting. Okay. I don't think this upper level of this building helps me at all. There's another building with an upper level that... Yeah, but I'd been there. And I've been down there. That door is locked, so... It's cool that I can get up here. I don't think it helps me, though. Okay. Oh, there's a train! I can see the train! I'm so happy. Is the train coming this way? No. Train doesn't go this way. You said there was a door up here. I think I'd been through all the doors up here. Yeah, this goes into a side hallway. It's on the wrong side of the building anyway. There's a door on this side. That could be helpful. There's no door on this side. And the train came back. And it's busy time at the docks. Hello.
This is despicable.
Wonder if there's like a way if I cross this river. No. This leads to nothing. I didn't see one. I'll look again, but I don't think there was another way out. Yeah, it's just this one room. Nothing to interact with. I wonder if there's someone I should have talked to have gotten a key to this door. Find Sean Hampton. So there's another way in there, then, if that's the case. So I'm in this section. And I'm essentially locked in these areas. These are the 3 warehouses that I can go to. If I could get into this area or that area, that would be swell. Okay, let me go back. Maybe I can... Yeah, alright, let's go back. Is this a door I can open? Yeah, but this doesn't take me anywhere useful. I've been in here. I can get into this room, and there's a door that won't open. Yeah, these blue lines are just district areas. Don't see a way across. I'm really confused. There was a way up here, that would be real nice, but no, there's no second level to this room. There'll be a gate over here that I can't open, right? No, it's over here. Yeah, I'm gonna look for a door on this side of the, this side. Yeah, that would be useful. There's a second level to this door. Yeah, I'll look again, but the second level up. No, wait, it's not this room. No, not this building. This is the middle building. Yeah. This building has no second floor. It's got that platform up there, but I can't seem to find a way to get up there. No, no teleport indicator. Other than that, there's no other platform to land on. Tell me how do I get through here? Yeah, I've looked on this wall several times. A door on this side would be mighty useful. Yeah, this door's open both ways. Sure would love a key. Nice little pyre of bodies. You'd think this was significant. somehow. I wonder if there's some kind of bug happening here. Okay, I'm going to Google it. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. We're going to Google it. Sad Saint of the East End. Okay. Okay. I interrupted an argument in Edgar Swansea's office. After I came back from my sister's funeral, a man was there, Geoffrey McCallum, leader of the Guard of Prewin. He presently suspects the Pembroke Hospital of vampire activity. He immediately recognized me for what I truly am, a vampire. But he was not here for me. Sean Hampton, the man I saved from William Bishop's appetite, has turned into a skull and escaped the hospital after killing another patient. As the current administrator, Dr. Swansea fears for the sanctity of the hospital. Since I was the one who let the murderer, Sean Hampton, enter the hospital, I will retrieve him and restore the Pembroke's reputation. I must act quickly if I were to protect any mortal quest. Put an end to Sean Hampton's savagery. Find Sean Hampton at the East Docks. In a warehouse, you will meet Boss L16, Jimmy the Spark Barlow, who has a medium-resistant melee and ranged weapon. Okay. Has that happened? Talk with Tom Watts. I'm looking for Sean Hampton, and then I must find him quickly. So there's a Jimmy the Spark Barlow character that I'm supposed to fight. Oh, is that who that was? Who has a medium resistant melee range? Okay, level 6. Who have high resistant range. Okay, Jimmy will continue to call reinforcement and using the flamethrower to attack. Okay. And reach Sean Hampton. Wonder if they're... Maybe I should go back to Tom Watts and talk to him. Hmm. That's a great question. No. No, I don't. Will it help me in this situation?
Gertrude, what have you done? You should have talked to me.
At the moment, what I really want is to find out how to deal with Sean Hampton fellow, or reach him.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Oh, your warehouse wasn't empty.
You lied to me, Tom. Your warehouse wasn't empty. It was inhabited with armed vigilantes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Reed, but I thought those Prewen guards would be willing to let someone like you pass without trouble.
That was devious of you, Tom. Next time you can bloody well go yourself.
I apologize, Doctor, but it's just that I prefer to avoid the law, its enforcers, and all manner of thugs in uniform.
Here is your booze. I hope it will appease your customers. Just try not to kill anyone with this poison of yours.
Believe me, Doctor, most of my customers are less agreeable when sober.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
Okay. I don't think that helped me, though.
Perhaps I should shut the turquoise for a time.
I don't think that helped me at all. I still have to get in there. Yeah, alright, you can go ahead and tell me. I don't really know. Like, maybe it'll be something that will... Maybe there's something I need to do to unlock these regions so that I can progress on this story. Maybe I'm just being blocked because I haven't... my investigations in this area. Yep, can't get in there. Can't get in there. Oh, okay. Is it possible for me to unlock Sean's secrets at this point? He's already gone missing. What's this event? An unknown event happened. Huh. Oh, I have to go down to South Newark, locate the site where the bombing took place. Alright, we can do that. Then let's investigate this event and see what happens. I want to talk to this waitress first.
Evening, miss.
Well, I never. That's a first. Customers who make that much mess rarely come back. Never mind in fancy togs.
I'm much more myself than when we first met. By the way, I'm Jonathan, Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Welcome back to the Turquoise Turtle then, Doctor. I'm Sabrina Cavendish. How can I help you?
What can you tell me about this area?
People don't appreciate that line of questioning round here. You best be more careful with what you say, sir.
You look concerned, Miss Cavendish.
This is a bad borough. Most people I know are afraid. Most locals will rob you blind, or worse. You best mind your step.
If you're uncertain about your safety here, the docks might not be the right place for you.
I got responsibilities. And it's not like I got the money to move anywhere else anyway.
This place seems, how shall I put it, very colorful. I'm sure it has plenty of stories to tell.
We get people of all sorts here. It's that rare place in the docks where you can have a drink without being murdered. At least it's not happened yet.
So this bar is neutral territory, then?
Yeah. Tom's convinced this is something the locals need. No one ever draws a weapon here. That's one of the reasons I accepted the job.
Your boss must be quite the negotiator to force such an agreement.
Yeah. Tom's a great bloke. Mr. Hampton, who runs the night asylum, he's the only other man that's able to keep peace around here.
Excuse my curiosity, but where exactly are you from, Miss Cavendish?
Something bothering you? What, my name? Or my complexion?
Believe me, I never judge someone on their place of birth or the color of their skin.
If that's true, you'd be one of the few not to make fun of me. Just you, Tom, Dyson, Miss Fishburne, and of course Mr. Hampton.
I'm sorry if I worried you. I was just curious to find out if you know this part of town well.
Nosy. My dad was a sailor from Bombay, and my mum was a maid born up in Glasgow. They got married in London. And here I am.
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
Hold off for now. I'm gonna look around a little bit more. I'm gonna follow these other investigation leads and see what happens. Right, I need to get over there.
This is no place for you, sir. Lead spotted! Watch out, boys!
Really like to upgrade disability. I think it's needs a little bit more power output.
See them fancy clothes? This one's a top! Bloody leech! Leech spotted! Watch out! Crush the leech, boys!
Locate the site where the bombing took place. We're just wandering around until we find what looks like a bomb happened. Shouldn't be too hard. Bombs aren't subtle. I want that hat. Wish we could change our outfit.
Yes. The place has changed since the explosion, but it was definitely here. I should find some way to pay my respects.
Oh, this is my old hideout, huh? Yeah, I remember this place.
May all who suffered from this tragedy find or rest in peace.
Oh, it's like literal tombstone here. I don't know what quest that was, but I did it. Right. I remember him talking about leaving a flower someplace.
Over there! There's one of them birds! Mine! I'll take it. Want some of this? We have to stop it! Killing's all you deserve.
Wait, I found a key to something. What did I just find a key to? Plain steel key designed to open a grid or a door. Okay. No idea what that would be. Maybe that'll unlock a... That time I was just gnawing on his chest.
Remember your vows, friend. He's dead. Stop it!
Guess I want to go in this direction. No, this direction. Yeah. This is whole... But the key that... Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, that's a good point. The key that I found probably unlocks something in here, though, eh? Given that this is where I found the key. Yeah, you're not so slow yourself. This is probably it. What was going on here?
Let's pin it down!
Laughing at the guard. I love laughing at guards. For more than a century, the Guard of Prewin has been a dissident faction from the Brotherhood of St. Paul Stole. It is important, as the divergence of opinion between our two fraternities are now well established, to remember what happened and why we shall, alas, consider these former brothers our opponents and adversaries, and mock their law of conduct. Kendall Stone founded the Guard in 1801. He was a former legate of the Brotherhood and long-standing member of the Brotherhood Council. His departure was the result of an irreconcilable dispute within the Council, when Kendall stated that the Brotherhood had to reconsider its non-violent approach to the study of vampires, and that the eradication of these immortals had to be the ultimate goal of all our researches. Since the terrible schism occurred, relations between the Guard and the Brotherhood have always been difficult. The Guard of Prewin considers the Brotherhood as traitors and allies of their foes, while we call them thieves and zealots for many ancient and precious books we kept for centuries, which they destroyed or stole when they left. I will constantly recuse any accusation of cowardice, for I know the courage it requires for our brothers to approach and observe hostile immortals. I'll never forget the cruel loss of the unique texts and scrolls burnt by Kendall and his followers when they left. And I will never cease to laugh at their stupidity, revealed in their very name, since they chose to call themselves the Guard of Prewin as a reference of King Arthur's shield, thus defining themselves as the true defenders of this land. When the true scholar perfectly knows that the Book of Taliesin, Prydwen, is only the name of Arthur's boat during his expedition to the mythical territories of Anduin. What a symbol indeed. Knows that in the Book of Taliesin, Prydwen is only the name of Arthur's boat. Huh. The Guard of Arthur. Okay. I mean, they got the word wrong. I don't know if it's that laughable, but I guess you gotta get your yucks where you can. So they are named after the Prydwen. And the Prydwen is the boat that ferried Arthur to... it's interesting that the Brotherhood of Steel and Fallout 4 would name their airship the Prydwen. With its Arthurian lore. I've never really associated the Brotherhood of Steel with... well, they do call themselves knights. Alright. I mean, fine. It's a loose connection. Not relevant to this game. Okay, you know what? I actually think this might be a good place to stop for now. Yeah, we'll figure out the rest of Sean's secret, and then figure out how to get access to that area. Other than the lesbian girl in Fallout New Vegas, the Brotherhood of Steel, always struck me as particularly douchey. They struck me as particularly fashy, at least in Fallout 4. Yeah, that was not something I ever really noticed in any of the earlier Fallout games. But they started picking up real fascist undertones when they were introduced in Fallout 4 that I didn't quite detect it in the previous games. But yeah, no, I mean they were always pretty douchey. Yes, I'll be getting that headache medicine next time as well. Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for hanging out, and have a good night.